Yes, I have been asked to repeat the workshop that I have been holding on Thursday and Friday on the Children Health Expo. This is a program that I have developed in 2007 after I had organized some some health promoting program for adults, like health lectures, cooking classes, weight management seminars, health expos. I felt the need to put together a program for children because not many things, or better said, nothing is available in the church for the children to promote the health of the children. And so I had the need to organize some programs for the children, and I had the opportunity with the work I had at that time to have free time to concentrate on this and to have 4 months to prepare this whole program, including organizing the first Children Health Expo. So I will, before going to the activities of the Children Health Expo, I will present a little bit the context. So I will speak about the health concern that the children are facing in the world today. I will speak about the consequences of the childhood overweight and obesity epidemic. The lifestyle habits amongst children have been evolving also. I will explain in what. I will then go to the Children Health Expo itself and present the concepts and the activities of this program, and show what could be some of the follow-up program of the Children Health Expo. Not only adult and old people are concerned with this epidemic of overweight, obesity, diabetes, and the consequences that are, among others, cardiovascular diseases, but it's also a health problem among children today. And it's a growing worldwide problem that is concerning over 200 million school-age children that are overweight or obese. And overweight and obesity, the definition is quite simple. It's an abnormal excessive fat accumulation. And since we are not camels, camels can accumulate fat on their body in their humps without having a deterioration of their overall health. For us, this accumulation of fat in our body has consequences for our health. And this burden of the children overweight and obesity epidemic is a worldwide burden. The rates are increasing as well in the developed as in the developing countries. The times are different, the speeds and the pattern are different, but it seems to be coming everywhere like a worldwide tsunami. So let me share with you some statistics about this epidemic. In the USA, which is probably the first country in the world being confronted with this kind of problem, in 1971, 15.4% of the children were overweight or obese. And 20 years later, it was 25%, which is 1 child out of 4. And today, so in 2010, so 2-3 years later, 1 child out of 3 is overweight or obese in the United States of America. So every 3 children, if I will have some children sitting here in the first row, it will be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So the rates are very high. And if we consider only the rate of obese children, they raised from 7% to 18% in between 1980 and 2010. And the prevalence of obesity is not the same. According to the race and ethnicity, there are differences. And it seems that the non-Hispanic Black and the Mexican American are more concerned with this problem. And it's interesting to know also that right now the country in the world that has the highest prevalence of overweight and obesity for adults is Mexico. In South America, the same phenomenon is happening, but later on in time. As you can see here, 1971, only 4% of the children were concerned with this problem, while it was already 15% in America, and 1997, 13%, and it is further growing as the country is developing. Chile, the same trend, so that we can say that in average, over 30% of the children and adolescents are overweight or obese in the Americas, and it's including also the regions in which you are living. So what are the consequences of this childhood obesity epidemic? There is the fear on one side that these young people that are already overweight at a young age might remain it throughout their adult life, and I will say the chance is great that it will happen this way if they will not encounter someone bringing them the good principles that we know of a healthy lifestyle. And the other problem is that in their young age, they are already developing diseases of old age. They have increased risk for cardiovascular diseases with elevated LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, reduced HDL, the good cholesterol. They have already fatty deposits in their artery in childhood, hypertension. So all this increases the risk for heart attack or stroke at a young age. They might have endocrine problems like insulin resistance, and also in a young age already type 2 diabetes. Pulmonary problem, because of the amount of weight, they might have breathlessness on exertion, so while doing exercise or some kind of intensive physical activity, which they cannot do properly anyway, and also develop sleep apnea. And the good news that we can bring to them with the health message and the wonderful principles that we have been given is that all these conditions are reversible. In the young age, as they are among the adults, but there are some conditions that are not reversible when they develop among the overweight children, which are the orthopedic problems, flat feet, and they also have an increased risk of fractures. There are some psychological problems, like a decreased self-esteem when the child is having this overweight during all childhood, and also linked to all this other increased risk, a shorter life expectancy. So what has led to this epidemic? How did the lifestyle of the children evolve or change in the last decades? Very often we have a hard time to notice this change because our life is not like the one of Methuselah. We are not living 900 years to be able to notice all the changes that are happening through the decades and centuries. But some factors that have contributed to these changes are the urbanization and the fact that more than 50% of the world population today is living in cities. Increasingly sedentary lifestyle, with the children spending more time inside than outside in their free time. So let us consider some statistics in relationship with these various aspects of the lifestyle. This is a study that had been done in Australia, but that could be done in another country, I guess, with similar result. In this survey that had been done in 2007, the sugar consumption was making 1/4 of the total energy intake. So a high sugar consumption among children that comes from all the sodas and sweets and candies, foods that they are proposed and that are marketed for them today. There is also a decline in the fruit and vegetable intake, and none of the children in this study were meeting the dietary guidelines. So only 1% of the 14 to 16-year-old boys and girls consumed adequate fruit. So 1%, which means that 99% of them didn't. 22% of the 4 to 8-year-old children ate enough vegetables, but this is also worrying because these 4 to 8-year-old children are not the one decided about their meals. They are still in families, and so we might wonder what the parents are proposing them. 5% of the 14 to 16-year-old only had the proper vegetable intake. So when you eat less of one thing, you rather eat more of another one, or the contrary, when you eat more sweet and sugary products, you eat less of the fruit, the vegetables, and other products. So the change has been going in this direction. So the change that has led to the adult epidemic of overweight and obesity is the same that has been contributing to the children's problem. So this change has been a decreased intake of grains, fruit, and vegetables, and of fiber-rich food, and an increased intake of animal protein, of fat, and of energy-dense food, rich in fat and simple carbohydrates. And I don't know if you have made the same experience by myself. It happens regularly that when I travel, I had to go and find something to eat somewhere. And when I enter a supermarket, there is a long line of cookies and soft drinks and chips and cakes. And maybe if I find one old apple in a corner of the shop, I'm still lucky. So the the choice of food that is proposed doesn't make it simple at times also to make good choices. So the traditional plant food-based diet is replaced by a diet high in processed food and animal products. So a food that is always more refined, calorie-dense, and always further from the natural state of food, from the state as we find it in the nature. So concerning the exercise, there is also a reason to worry about the amount of exercise of the children. There is a growing physical inactivity linked for part to an easier access to transportation to go to school or to go to other places, and also a reduction in the outdoor activity in the free time linked to more time spent in front of some screens. And this is a study in England that was showing this phenomenon with an increase in the use of car and a decrease in walking and cycling to school, and a drop in the number of children walking to school also. But the recommendation for the children is 1 hour of physical activity a day, and this 1 hour of physical activity a day should include some intensive physical activity. Another problem is also with the beverages that are offered to the children, and when they grow, the problem tends to be even worse. So when we see all these statistics that are already almost catastrophic at a younger age, we can imagine that when they grow, it's even worse. It will not be better. So there is a big problem also with the consumption of soft drinks among children, and these statistics are almost unbelievable. This is a study that had been done in the US between 1999 and 2003, so in 3 years, and the average results were that a teenage boy was drinking about 700 cans, so cans of soda a year, which is between 1.5 and 2 a day. And for the girl, it was not much better. And a can of soda is containing 7 pieces or spoons of sugar, and 1 liter of soda is containing 21. So you can see the link also between this consumption and the high consumption of sugar in the total calorie intake. And there is naturally a link between this soda consumption and the problem of overweight. Another problem has appeared more lately, in the last decade maybe, and this problem is linked to the increasing use of caffeine by children, with an increase of 70% in the past 30 years. So why are the children consuming always more caffeine? Because of the so-called energy drinks, all the Red Bull, and I don't know what the names are in the countries in which you are living, but I'm sure you know what I'm speaking about, even though the name might not be the same. Red Bull, you have it also? Mm-hmm. So these drinks might contain, according to the kind, between 1 and 5 cups of coffee in one drink. If we compare the amount of caffeine in the cups of coffee and the drink, it's about 1 to 5 cups of coffee. And something that we might be interested in knowing also is that the children are more likely to develop a dependency to caffeine, and also at lower doses. And something interesting, I mean, I'm not sure if it's interesting, it's rather sad than interesting, is that the food industry today is putting caffeine in nuts, in other kind of food where we would not think that they will put it, not only in these energy drinks, because then it creates an addiction to this food and a need to buy it again. There is also a problem with the rest, so you see that the list is quite long, the problem that the children are confronted with. There has been a decrease in sleep duration in infancy and childhood over the last 20 years. The children are not sleeping enough, in average. And when a child is not sleeping enough, and very often it's linked to the fact that he's going too late to bed, then all kinds of consequences are following. If a child is going too late to bed, he will rise up later in the morning. He will not have so much time to get a breakfast, so he will skip a breakfast or take something very light. Then he will be hungry in the morning. He will have the likelihood to take some snacks in the morning, and the snack will not be carrots or broccoli. then since he will be tired, he will have a poor posture, so he will have a poor breathing. I have been teaching in high school, and I can guarantee you that the students that have a lack of rest, they don't have good grades. They are not very brilliant. They will have poor judgment, which means in the everyday choices they have to make, they will not make the best choices. And just to tell you a little example, not long ago, I had been traveling, coming home, not sleeping enough. I was going with my car to take some gas to put in my car, and because I was sleepy, I left without paying. Which I noticed about 1 kilometer later. I was like struck by I don't know how you call it, when there is a storm. And I had the impression already that all the polices of the city were looking for me, which was not the case. But so I went back and paid what I had to. So when we are tired, we have a poor judgment. There is a reduced creativity and initiative and other mental faculties. And also when a child is tired because he doesn't have enough sleep, he will not have the proper energy to exercise. And also it will increase the need and the temptation to take these energy drinks and stimulants. And for the children in the church who might be in this, how you call it in English? Teufelkreis auf Deutsch, they will have an impaired spirituality. Cercle vicieux in French. Okay, so concerning the mental health, this area, and it's also linked to the sedentarity. The total screen time spent in front of screen per day varies between 4.7 hours and 4.4 hours according to the ages. So between 4 and 5 hours of sitting in front of a screen a day. And this was a study mentioned in the book Supersized Kids from the Florida Hospital. So I guess it's an American study. So all this, I presented all this point because if you want to engage in doing health promotion among children in your community, you might have more information about the needs. And I will say that even before going to the outside of the church, I think there is some work to do inside the church at first, for the children inside of the church. So on the basis of these statistics or studies or information that I read once in a while, I felt the need to put this expo together. And so where did I get the concept from, or how did I get these ideas to put, for instance, like here on the banners, to point the children to the animal life or to the nature? I found it in some inspired books. One of them was, it's a quotation from Desire of Ages. Jesus, who made all things, studied the lessons which his own hand has written in earth and sea and sky. Apart from the unholy ways of the world, Jesus gathered stores of scientific knowledge from nature. He studied the life of plants and animals and the life of man. So God had put Jesus in the same school that the one that Adam attended, which was the school of nature. And I think this is the best school for the children also. Another quotation: tell your children about the miracle working power of God. As they study the great lesson book of nature, God will impress their mind. So it's a way to come closer to God while understanding more about his creation. And this is also a very interesting quotation that might lead us to be even more interested in working with children and starting the prevention among children. Those of mature age are generally insensible to new impressions, as is the hardened rock. But youth is impressible. Youth is the time to acquire knowledge for daily practice through life. A right character may be then easily formed. It is the time to establish good habits, to gain and to hold the power of self-control. And so childhood is a time for sowing. It's a time to learn habits, and children are still flexible. They are not hardened. They are open, and it's a pleasure to work with children. So, coming to the Children Health Expo activities themselves. The Children Health Expo, I don't know, how many of you have already seen or attended an adult health expo, whether you have seen it or been in it or have been a helper or volunteer? Okay, so some of you. So the Adult Health Expo is an exposition with 8 stations. One station for the nutrition, one for the exercise, the water, the sunshine, the temperance, the air, the rest, and the trust. And at each one of these stations, the visitors can gather and receive information concerning the health principles and also have some tests or checkups done on them. And on the Children Health Expo has been inspired from this concept. It also has 8 stations, and you can see around me 2 of the banners from 2 of the stations, which is this one, the station Temperance, and here the station Nutrition. So the Children Health Expo is also a place where the children go from one station to another and learn different things about health. So it's not about measuring them the blood pressure or taking the blood sugar, because they would rather run away than come happily to the Children Health Expo. But it's more about doing games and having them learn about the activities that, principles that will benefit their lifestyle. So how is the Children Health Expo organized? It has 8 stations. From what I have experienced, the ideal number of children for a Children Health Expo is between 24 and 48. So why this number? Because we have 8 stations, which means that if we have 24 children that are divided into the 8 stations, we have either something between 3 to 6 children at each station. It's a program where the children have to be invited ahead, which means that some weeks or months before you organize the Children Health Expo, you send an invitation to a school if you want a school to come and visit you, or you visit the school if you want to propose them to do the expo in their buildings. But you have, before the expo starts, to know the number and the name of each one of the children that will participate in this program, because some materials will be printed, some certificates will be distributed, and so we need to know the number and the name of the children visiting. The needed spaces for an expo is about 100 square meters or 1,100 square feet. I would say it's a minimum. It depends. According to the space you have, you can do more or less for the physical activity part. So the children that are coming, let's say we have 48 children visiting a health expo, they will be divided into 8 groups. So at each station, if I go back to the chart here, so there will be 6 children at the station nutrition, 6 at the station air, sunshine, and so forth. The children are in the different stations. And the activity of one station lasts 15 to 20 minutes. And after a group of 6 children has been doing the activities at one station, there is a bell ringing and all the children move to the further stations, so that in the end of the 2.5 to 3 hours, all the children have participated to all the activities and have visited all the stations. So when the children arrive, we introduce to them the concept by asking them some questions, like what happens when we are sick. So it's a discussion between the person animating the expo. Sorry? Okay. Is it work? Yeah, it works. So we ask them some questions, like what happens when we are sick, and we let them answer. What can we do to stay in better health? And we also let them guess the laws of their health by starting to asking them about the laws of health of a plant, for instance. So we show them a tree bringing fruit, and we can ask them what this tree needs to be in good health. So this they know. They know that a tree, to grow well, it will need water, it will need sunshine, it will need air, heat, and a good ground. Little children also usually, they like to take care of little animals. They might have a pet, a rabbit, a fish, or whatever other animals they might have. So they also know or like to learn about how to take care of their pets. So we ask them then what a little dog, for instance, or a little animal needs to grow and stay healthy. So this they know also. They know that it will need some rest, some exercise, some sunshine, good food, and to be taken care of. Which means that they know already quite a lot about the laws of health without knowing that they know so much. So we help them to discover it. And then it's easier to introduce them to the laws that are applying to our health. Once they have seen that for a tree to be healthy, there are certain principles to be respected. For a little dog or pet to grow and stay healthy, there are also some principles that have to be respected. And they know well that if their pet doesn't get food, it will not be well long, or if the tree doesn't get water, it will not function also. So then we can introduce them to the laws that are applying to our health, the 8 laws of our health, which are the ones that I have been mentioning already, by showing them the various stations of the expo. So the first station, actually there is no order, but I will describe the activities of the various stations of the expo. So the activities of the station nutrition are according to a certain pattern, a pattern that is the same in the different stations, which is at first there is an activity where the children can learn about a principle in the nature by studying something in relationship with the animal life or the plant life. They learn more about nature, and then after they have been learning more about nature, there is an application for them. So what does it mean for them? How will this law of health apply for them? And then either with a discussion or with some materials we give them, we invite them to follow and put into practice this law of health in their home. So this is the pattern of the stations. So the first game by the nutrition station is called the Hungry Chimpanzee. So you can see how hungry it is. And so the game has to do with, for the children, guessing what the nutrition of the chimpanzee is all about. So there are various cards and foods that have been prepared, and they are shown. So a person is asking them what the chimpanzee is eating, and for the various cards, the children is asked if the chimpanzee is eating a lot of few of these foods. So is the chimpanzee eating seeds, yes or no? Is it eating a few or a lot, and so forth for all the other foods that are presented. And then on the basis of the answer, we introduce the children to a food pyramid, which is not the human food pyramid, but this is the food pyramid of the chimpanzee. And we can, in this way, tell them that to stay healthy, the chimpanzee has to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, which is about 60% in his diet, to have about 20% of leaves, 5% of seeds, and 5% of insects. So this is only for you that I'm mentioning this now. So for the children, we are presenting them the different proportion, and it helps them to start thinking in terms of proportion of food. And the reason why I have chosen the chimpanzee for this station is because he's eating a lot of fruits and leaves. And we know that from the statistics I've been showing you before, that the consumption of fruit and vegetables among children is not enough. And we want to encourage them to eat between 5 and 9 portions, which is a handful of fruit and vegetables a day. That's why I have chosen this animal that is eating a lot of fruits and leaves. And after they have learned about the chimpanzee and his diet, they are introduced to the human food pyramid through a food pyramid game, which is, we use for this either a true pyramid, which is a ladder kind of pyramid with empty boxes of foods and fruits and vegetables or whatever we might have. Sorry, here. So the children are monitored while they are putting the foods on the right place. They are explained from the beginning also about the different food groups and what belongs to the fruits and the vegetables, what belongs to the cereals. So usually they think that what belongs to the cereals is Choco Pops and Choco Mops. And they, if you speak about rice or pasta, or they are not so sure about what it should be called. And then we present also the food group of the protein and then all the sugar and fat on the top of the pyramid. If we don't have this material, we can give them the food pyramid game on a paper to do. So they are given a sheet that has been plastified, and with this sheet and some little foods, you can see on the screen here all the little foods that they will have to put on the food pyramids, and these little foods that have been cut are to be put on the proper place on the sheet. And here again, there are some people at the station to monitor them and explain them what belongs to the various food groups. And the fact that, for instance, an avocado being a fruit, we will not put it in the bottom of the pyramid because we don't want to eat as many avocados as we would like to eat apples or salad, or tomatoes or salad. So this is about the other activity, the way the children are doing it. And then I had been preparing for the last year Orlando Health Summit of the North American Division, something complementary for the games, because the American government had just given the My Plate recommendation. So I have been also making a plate with the color adapted to the color of the pyramid, so that the children, after they have been learning about the different food groups and placed the various foods on the pyramid, we can help them to do menus for breakfast and for lunch, and also help them to have the right amount of the various foods. And then they receive a sheet. So I will not give so many explanations for all the stations, but I would like at least to show one station completely. So for the station nutrition, they will receive at the end a sheet with some, so I see that I have a kind helper coming to me. Thank you, Dr. Kanner. Yes, so the children receive a sheet two sheets, actually one where they can cut some fruits and vegetables. And on this one, it's for them during 3 days, each time they eat a fruit or a vegetable, to place it here on the sheet and to see at the end of the 3 days if they follow the recommendation of having at least 5 portions of fruits and vegetables a day. Thank you so much. So that's a way also for them to bring something home, not to stay by the activities of the expo, but to realize that there is something they can change in their everyday life, and not only that they can change, but that they are invited and recommended to change. So for the station air, we explain them the anatomy and physiology of the respiratory system, help them to understand what the deep breathing is all about. Then there is a game where they learn from the whale and the respiration of the whale and the importance for the whale to have a good respiration, otherwise it cannot go down and get the krill it wants to eat. And then there is a game, so I'm summarizing now. There is a game about breathing. So there are different types of creatures, plants, animals, and humans. And the children receive each one a card and are asked to answer some question. And according to the answers, they have to go from one side to another about who breathes and who breathes oxygen from the air, who has lungs or not, who can breathe through the skin, and who can stay more than 1 hour without breathing. And then we speak with them about how we can keep our lungs to work the way they should. This is also to speak about the harmful effect of tobacco, or of poor ventilation of the rooms, or of pollution, or how they can keep their lungs healthy. Then on the station exercise, there is a game with animals again. So according to the same pattern, doing a first exercise by learning something from the nature. We want to show them that the animals are active, that they can run and jump and swim, that this is also what we should do. So there are different animals, cards that they are given, and they have to order these animals according to the right speed. So here the children are in discussion with the person animating the expo, placing the animals or ordering them according to their various speeds. And then there is a chart summarizing the speeds of the various animals in comparison to the human speed. So maybe the children can be advised to run as cats if we compare the speed and what we could advise them. And then there is some practical advice during the expo, and according to the space they have, they can run or run on one foot, or doing different kind of activities that will increase their heartbeat. So they are taught about the heartbeat and about the pulse, and the fact that the pulse is increasing when we do more exercise, and that it's beneficial for all the muscles, including the heart. And then at this station, they receive also something at home to put into practice and to know how to count the exercise they are doing. So there is a chart of activity for fit children that they can do at home. So the chart doesn't appear properly here on the presentation, but it's about for them for each day to calculate the time they have been spending doing physical activity, and if they have been matching the recommendation of 1 hour of physical activity a day. So for instance, if they go 10 minutes by walking to school, they write 10 minutes. If they have been biking to go to a friend's home, they write 20 minutes. If they have been swimming, they write 30, and then they make the calculation of the total time spent in physical activity. Then for the station Sunshine, the station starts with a quiz on the sun and various positive effect of the sun on our health. Then there is, so this is the sun quiz, and the children have some cards where they answer to the quiz. And then the children are learning about the various skin types, and they will learn to identify the kind of skin type they have. And according to their skin type, they will have to learn to get more or less protected from the sun, because they will be more or less sensitive to sunburns. So this is a chart which is empty. There are different things they have to put on the right place. So these are the different skin types of the children. And there is someone explaining them also all the principles. So the skin type, just to summarize, it's red hair and green or blue eyes. This is the most sensitive skin type. And then it's blonde hair and blue or green eye. And then brown hair and brown eye, and so forth. And the browner the hair and the eye, the less sensitive the skin to sunburn. Then there is a game where they will learn how they can protect themselves from the sun. So they are recommended to have some sunshine on their skin because of the vitamin D they need to get in right amount, but at the same time they have to learn how to get protected from it. So there are various ways to get protected from the sun, through sunglasses, through a t-shirt, through an umbrella, or by drinking enough water also when it's very hot. So they are pointed to the lions here resting on the shadow, and they have to discover various things, or they receive a puzzle to be done concerning how to get protected. And then there is a station rest, and I will go very quickly because I want to show you a video still before I will end. So we always have animals that are helping us to teach the children the right principles. So we don't recommend to the children to sleep as koalas, because koalas are sleeping 16 hours out of 24. We would rather recommend the children to sleep like a dolphin or a cat or a leopard, which is something in between 10 and 13 hours of sleep a night. So why should the children rest? We are explaining them, and we are also calculating with them the number of hours of sleep they have during the night, and if it's the appropriate number of or not. And then there is a game for them, again through various animals. I don't have them here, but yes, we have elephant, seal, rabbit, mole, dolphin, cat, leopard, squirrel, hamster, tiger, koala, and so forth. So various animals with various sleep rhythm. And we also have the human beings at different age with also the different sleep rhythm. And the children also can notice that each one have its rhythm, and they also have their own, which is for an adequate number of sleep during the night from 10 to 13 hours in their age range. And we have the second game of the rest, which is for them, they have to mimic the way one animal is sleeping, so there are various animals that they are mimicking. On the station temperance, they are explain what the word means, that it means balance, and also using the proper thing in right amount and avoiding all that is detrimental to the health. So they learn through questions to understand that there need to be a right balance between all the laws of health, between the nutrition and the amount of nutrition and exercise, between the sunshine and the water. So what is the proper balance between the whole? And they are also explained that one thing that brings out of balance are all the drugs and alcohol and tobacco. There is a game that can be done also to help the children to identify the amount of caffeine in the different beverages that are proposed. So there can be different bottles of beverages, like some juices, some water, some energy drinks, and other beverages for them to be able to identify where the caffeine is contained and where not. And then there is a just game for fun where they have to find the balance. On the water station, they are helped to identify the water quantities with a game, because we want to tell them the amount they should drink a day. So either we speak in liter or in glasses, and they have to have some notion about quantities. Then there is a game about the thirsty camel. The camel being the animal that can drink the biggest quantity of water at a time, because a thirsty camel can drink about 100 liters in 10 to 15 minutes. And God has created this camel with the ability to gather water in his blood, what we cannot. And so there is a game where they have to give water to the camel, and they can, through this game, notice how much it is. And when you read in the Bible that, was it Rebecca, the wife of Isaac, she had to give water to all the camels of the servant of Abraham, knowing that one thirsty camel is drinking 100 liters. So you can guess that Rebecca had a lot of exercise that day. Then the children are given also a sheet for them to bring at home, and where they can calculate the amount of water they need according to their body weight, and the amount of water they need every day, and the way they can have this water been drinking all of the day, because we don't recommend them again to drink as a camel, drinking all at once. So we don't want them to drink 2 liters of water at once. So we are explaining them how they can take them it all over the day. And then at the Station Trust, so these are the banners pictures. It's about relationship, mental health, and how to be and stay happy. So these are the activities, what makes me happy, the secret of good relationship, and then there is a song at the expo song that is the children are learning at this station. So when the children have been going through all the station and have done all the activities, they are gathered at the end of the expo, and they are asked 2 or 3 questions on each station. So it's a way, again, to repeat what they have learned. And also, since they will receive a certificate, we want to make sure that they have learned something, even though they receive it anyway. So this was the distribution of certificates. So what are the possible venues for a Children's Health Expo, or where has it been organized until now? It can be organized in a school. So this is a public school in Portugal where a team went to organize Children's Health Expo, and the interesting experience in this is that the people that were leading the activities of the Children's Health Expo were young people, so it was a double benefit. The young people learning the laws of health and explaining them to the children. So you see the school had given a mall for the Children's Health Expo to be organized. Here you see the various activity. It can be organized, and I think it should be the first priority for us to do it for the children of our church that don't have the monopoly of knowledge on this area. It can be done in a camp, like in England, for instance. It was under a tent. It can be done in a mall. So this was the first Children's Health Expo that was ever organized, that are organized in a mall in Switzerland. So we were in a part of the shop, and the schools around were coming to us. It can be organized in the nature, and I find it a very nice setting for a Children's Health Expo to have it in the nature. And as for the adult health program, it's also about not only giving information, but also creating contacts with the children, with their parents, or developing friendship and relationship. So some follow-up activities can be organized after the expo, like children's cooking classes, like church health weekend, and I think that if in the church, those taking care of the young people, when they are organizing weekend once in a while, if they will integrate health principles, they could maybe more easily invite children from outside of the of the church, from their community. We can also have a health club for children once or twice a month, where the children can learn more about anatomy and physiology in relationship with the laws of health, to listen to a DVD, showing some health principles or having some simple recipe demonstration and doing some exercise, what they are always coming too short with. And if someone has a heart for gardening and a heart for children in your church, he can also be leading children gardening classes, which is also a wonderful way for children not only to see the fruit and vegetable to grow, but also to have something that they can eat and be healthy. And I also thought of creating a sheet like this, especially for the children in our church, because Dr. Handyside has been presenting yesterday the concept of having each church a community health center and each member a health minister, but I would like to propose the idea of having each children of our church being a health minister as well. And in order to do this, when I do Children Health Expo with the children of our church, I want to invite them in the end to follow the healthy lifestyle principles that have been presented in the expo. So concerning the breathing, exercise, nutrition, and so forth. And also, in the end, for their own benefit and the benefit of those around them, to share it with others. And that's why in the little pink thing it's written, I want to help other people to live healthy too. So let me show you now, before we finish, the Children Health Expo video. This is a video, it's interesting. The mall where I had organized this Children Health Expo had someone from the workers, I mean the director has asked one of the workers to come with a camera that they were selling in the shop and to make a video for us. So this is the video we have that the mall has been doing for us. And we have been putting it together in the health department of the division on a DVD that we have been sharing with the churches of our division about how to organize various health programs to motivate the members to engage in medical missionary work by organizing health expos for adults or children, or health clubs or summer health camps or other kind of activities. I have been giving a copy of this DVD. Belkis has one, and the director of the Children Ministries has also one, and it can be copied.
In many countries, the last few decades have been marked by an increase in the incidence of obesity and other lifestyle-related diseases among children. In some places, up to 35% of the children are overweight, and this puts them at risk of developing some potentially serious diseases, such as diabetes or even heart problems later on in life. In response to this concern, the Children Health Expo has been developed as a way to attractively present health principles to children and motivate them to have a healthier lifestyle. The Health Expo has 8 stations, where children enjoy learning about good health habits. At each station, a special health topic is presented using a variety of activities, such as games, quizzes, and singing. Typically, children between 6 and 12 years of age are very interested in nature and like to learn about trees, flowers, bears, whales, and camels. Animals provide good examples of God's infinite wisdom, and their simple lives open the minds of the children to the universal principles of health. Let us look at the different stations and get a feel for what happens at the Children Health Expo.
What shall I eat to become strong? Is bread good for me? What do I gain from eating fruit? Will nuts make me fat? What about eating cereals at breakfast time? The Food Pyramid Game is an interesting tool where children can interact and discover answers to these and other questions. Do you know how whales breathe? They have lungs just like us and use them just like we do, breathing in and breathing out. Good breathing is very important because each one of our cells needs oxygen.
Sunshine. Can you see on the banner where the lions are resting? Yes, in the shade of a tree. While some sun is good for our health, we need protection from too much sun exposure. So, how can we enjoy the sunshine? The answers to this question are hidden in those boxes. So guess what they are? Exercise. Have you already seen how animals exercise? How fast do you think some of them can run? Doing exercise is very important for our health. It strengthens our hearts and muscles and makes us feel happier. Rest. Rest and sleep are not useless. Did you know that your body grows and your brain is storing information while you sleep? People and animals have specific rhythms for sleeping. So let us find out the hours of sleep that each one needs.
What is temperance? It is avoiding bad things and using the good things just as much as is good for us. So in which areas do we have to be temperate? How will we feel if we eat a lot but never exercise? Temperance and balance are a matter of training and habit.
Water. With up to 70% of our body made up of water, we better know how to stay hydrated. Our bodies need to replace the water they lose throughout the day. But how do we lose water? And how much water should we drink? Should we drink as much as a camel does?
Trust. Our health is also linked to what we think and how we feel. Do you know what can help us to be happy? Where can we find comfort in difficulties? Joyful singing also helps. Let's do that now.
Well, after a few hours of seeing, hearing, doing things, children have learned a lot about their health and are able to answer many questions.
Every child receives a certificate and materials to remind them of the good things they learned and also to share with their families and friends. Where can we run a Children Health Expo? Suitable locations for this event are schools, malls, churches, summer camps. But you can be sure that regardless of the location, Children Health Expos are fun for everyone. Childhood is a time when many habits are formed for life. Why not start early with a healthy lifestyle? A Children Health Expo is a ready-to-use concept with user-friendly materials. It can also be presented in many different ways. Do you want to have an impact on children's health? Now is the time to do it. So why not organize a Children Health Expo?
So now that you have heard the melody of the song of the Children Health Expo, I would like, as a closing, to invite you to sing it with me. So it's in English, and I don't know if I have the impression the majority of you sitting here are speaking Spanish. So the melody of the song, Jesus Loves Me.